You think you know everything about WWE's power couple. You think Triple H and Stephanie McMahon's love story is some fairy tale romance. Think again. What I'm about to reveal will make your blood boil and question everything you thought you knew about the McMahon family dynasty. Triple H is reportedly in absolute agony after discovering that his wife Stephanie had a secret connection with Kurt Angle that goes deeper than anyone ever imagined, and the most twisted part. Vince McMahon knew about it the entire time. I'm talking about a betrayal so deep, so calculated, that it makes the Montreal Screwjob look like child's play. This isn't just wrestling drama, folks, this is real-life destruction of trust, family bonds, and everything Triple H believed about his marriage. The man who calls himself The Game just found out he's been played by his own wife and father-in-law for years. Picture this. Triple H, the man who built NXT from the ground up, who earned his stripes in the ring and clawed his way to the top of WWE's corporate ladder, discovers that his entire marriage might have been built on a foundation of lies and manipulation. According to explosive new reports that have just surfaced, Stephanie McMahon had a romantic entanglement with Kurt Angle that went far beyond what anyone in the WWE universe ever suspected. But here's where it gets absolutely sickening. Vince McMahon, the patriarch of the family, the man who Triple H has called a father figure for over 2 decades, knew about Stephanie's feelings for Kurt Angle and actively covered it up. We're talking about a conspiracy that reaches the highest levels of WWE management, a web of deceit that has been carefully maintained for years. The wrestling world is buzzing with whispers about what really happened behind the scenes during Kurt Angle's original WWE run. Sources close to the situation are now revealing that Stephanie's professional relationship with the Olympic hero was anything but professional. The chemistry between them was undeniable, and it created a toxic environment that Triple H was completely oblivious to. Let's dive deep into this nightmare scenario that has Triple H questioning everything he thought he knew about his life. Kurt Angle, the Olympic gold medalist who became one of WWE's most beloved superstars, apparently had a connection with Stephanie McMahon that went far beyond the typical wrestler-executive relationship. Former WWE insider sources are now coming forward with shocking details about private meetings between Stephanie and Kurt that had nothing to do with storylines or business decisions. We're talking about intimate conversations, shared moments, and an emotional bond that developed right under Triple H's nose. The betrayal cuts even deeper when you realize that Triple H and Kurt Angle were supposed to be colleagues, professional competitors who respected each other's abilities. But the most infuriating part of this entire situation is how Vince McMahon orchestrated the cover-up. The WWE chairman, who has always presented himself as a family man who puts his daughter's happiness above everything else, apparently facilitated this deception for his own twisted reasons. Was he trying to protect WWE's corporate image? Was he playing some sick psychological game with his son-in-law? The motivations behind his actions are as disturbing as the actions themselves. Imagine being Triple H right now. You've dedicated your entire adult life to this company, married into the family, had children with Stephanie, and built what you thought was an unshakable partnership both personally and professionally. Then you discover that your wife had feelings for another man, and your father-in-law helped hide it from you for years. The emotional devastation Triple H must be experiencing is unimaginable. This isn't just about professional embarrassment or corporate politics, this is about the fundamental trust that forms the foundation of any marriage. When that trust is shattered, especially by deception involving family members, the psychological impact can be absolutely devastating. Sources close to Triple H describe him as being in a state of complete shock and rage. The man who has always been known for his calculated, strategic approach to both wrestling and business is apparently struggling to process the magnitude of this betrayal. We're talking about someone who has built his entire identity around loyalty, respect, and earning his place in the wrestling world, only to discover that his own family has been playing games with his emotions for years. This is where the story gets absolutely disgusting, and where your anger should be reaching its peak. Vince McMahon, the man who claims to be a loving father and grandfather, apparently knew about his daughter's romantic feelings for Kurt Angle and made a conscious decision to hide this information from Triple H. Think about the implications of this cover-up. Every family dinner, every business meeting, every moment they shared together was tainted by this secret knowledge. Vince was sitting across from his son-in-law, knowing that Triple H's wife had feelings for another man, and saying nothing. The level of manipulation and psychological cruelty involved in this deception is beyond anything we've seen in wrestling storylines. But why would Vince do this? What could possibly motivate a father to deceive his daughter's husband about something so fundamental to their relationship? Some industry insiders speculate that Vince saw an opportunity to maintain control over both his daughter and his star performer. By keeping Triple H in the dark, he could manipulate both relationships to serve his own purposes. Others suggest that Vince was trying to protect WWE's corporate image and didn't want the scandal of his daughter's romantic entanglements to become public knowledge. But protecting the company's reputation at the expense of his son-in-law's emotional well-being reveals a level of cold calculation that even his harshest critics might find shocking. The wrestling world is absolutely exploding with reactions to this revelation. Veterans of the industry who have worked with all three individuals involved are coming forward with their own stories and observations that suddenly make sense in this new context. Former WWE writers are revealing that certain storylines and character decisions that seemed strange at the time now appear to have been influenced by these behind-the-scenes dynamics. The creative process itself may have been compromised by personal relationships and hidden agendas that the audience never knew about. Other wrestlers who worked during Kurt Angle's original WWE run are sharing their own suspicions about the unusual dynamic between Stephanie and Kurt. Many are expressing sympathy for Triple H while also revealing their own anger at being kept in the dark about situations that affected their working environment. The fan community is equally divided and passionate in their responses. Some are defending Stephanie's right to have had feelings for someone else before fully committing to Triple H, while others are condemning the deception and cover-up that followed. But almost universally, fans are expressing outrage at Vince McMahon's role in facilitating this betrayal. This revelation raises serious questions about the entire McMahon family dynamic and how personal relationships have influenced WWE's corporate decisions over the years. If Vince was willing to deceive Triple H about something this personal, what other secrets might he be hiding? How many other decisions have been influenced by personal vendettas, romantic entanglements, or family politics that the public never knew about? The professional implications are equally staggering. Triple H's position as head of creative and his role in WWE's future succession plans are now in question. How can he continue to work closely with people who have fundamentally betrayed his trust? The corporate structure of WWE itself might need to be reconsidered if personal relationships are this deeply intertwined with business decisions. For Kurt Angle, this revelation raises questions about his relationship with WWE and his eventual return to the company. Did his departure from WWE have anything to do with this situation? Was his later return somehow connected to resolving these personal issues? The timeline of events suddenly takes on new significance when viewed through this lens. What makes this situation even more infuriating is the psychological warfare aspect of the deception. Triple H wasn't just kept in the dark about a simple romantic attraction, he was manipulated into believing he had a complete understanding of his family dynamics while living in a carefully constructed lie. The mental and emotional toll of discovering this level of deception cannot be overstated. Triple H has to question every interaction, every decision, every moment of trust he shared with both Stephanie and Vince. The paranoia and doubt that this kind of betrayal creates can be psychologically devastating and long-lasting. But the cruelest aspect of this entire situation is how it was allowed to continue for years. This wasn't a momentary lapse in judgment or a brief period of poor decision-making. This was a sustained campaign of deception that required constant maintenance and reinforcement. Every day that passed without the truth being revealed was another day of psychological manipulation. The corporate implications of this cover-up are staggering and should make every WWE fan absolutely furious. If the McMahon family is willing to engage in this level of personal deception, what does that say about their business practices? How can shareholders, employees, and fans trust a company where the leadership engages in such fundamental dishonesty? This situation also raises questions about WWE's corporate governance and the concentration of power within the McMahon family. When personal relationships and family dynamics have this much influence over business decisions, the entire corporate structure becomes compromised. The interests of shareholders, employees, and fans become secondary to the personal agendas of the ruling family. The legal implications could also be significant. If business decisions were influenced by personal relationships and hidden agendas, there might be grounds for various types of legal action. The fiduciary responsibilities of corporate leaders become compromised when personal deception influences professional decisions. This revelation has the potential to completely reshape WWE's power structure and succession planning. Triple H's position as the heir apparent to Vince McMahon's empire is now in serious question. How can he continue to work closely with people who have fundamentally betrayed his trust? The corporate structure of WWE itself might need to be reconsidered if personal relationships are this deeply intertwined with business decisions. The relationship between Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, both personally and professionally, is now under intense scrutiny. Can their marriage survive this level of deception? Can their business partnership continue when the foundation of trust has been so severely damaged? These questions will likely influence WWE's direction for years to come. Vince McMahon's legacy is also now tainted by this revelation. The man who built WWE into a global entertainment empire will now also be remembered as someone who was willing to psychologically manipulate his own son-in-law for personal and corporate gain. The ethical implications of his actions will be debated by wrestling fans and business analysts for years to come. The wrestling community's response to this revelation has been swift and overwhelmingly negative toward Vince McMahon and the culture of deception within WWE's upper management. Veterans of the industry are sharing their own stories of manipulation and hidden agendas that suddenly make sense in this new context. Current WWE performers are reportedly concerned about their own job security and the potential for personal relationships to influence professional decisions. The trust between management and talent has been severely damaged, and rebuilding that trust will require significant changes in corporate culture and leadership accountability. Independent wrestling promotions and other major companies are likely to benefit from this scandal as talented performers and creative minds look for alternatives to WWE's toxic corporate environment. The long-term competitive implications for WWE could be severe if they cannot restore trust and ethical leadership. This situation demands accountability at the highest levels of WWE's corporate structure. Vince McMahon's actions constitute a fundamental breach of trust that goes beyond typical corporate misconduct. The personal nature of his deception makes his actions particularly egregious and unforgivable. Stephanie McMahon must also be held accountable for her role in this deception. As a corporate executive and family member, she had a responsibility to be honest with her husband about her feelings and relationships. The continued cover-up shows a pattern of dishonesty that raises questions about her fitness for corporate leadership. The WWE Board of Directors and shareholders need to seriously consider whether the current leadership structure is sustainable given this level of personal and professional misconduct. The concentration of power within the McMahon family has created an environment where personal vendettas and romantic entanglements can influence business decisions to the detriment of everyone else involved. What we're looking at here is the ultimate betrayal in professional wrestling history. This isn't about storylines or corporate politics, this is about fundamental human decency and the basic trust that should exist between family members. Triple H gave his life to this company and this family, only to discover that they were playing games with his emotions and his future. The wrestling world will never be the same after this revelation. The McMahon family's carefully constructed image of corporate competence and family values has been shattered beyond repair. The trust between WWE's leadership and everyone else, performers, employees, and fans, has been fundamentally damaged. This story is far from over, and the reverberations will be felt throughout the wrestling industry for years to come. The demand for truth, accountability, and ethical leadership has never been stronger, and the McMahon family's response to this crisis will determine WWE's future as both a business and a cultural institution. The question now is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to continue supporting a company that engages in this level of deception and manipulation? Are you going to demand accountability from the leadership that has betrayed the trust of everyone who believed in them? The power is in your hands, and the wrestling world is watching to see how you respond to this ultimate betrayal. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the Wrestling News CC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.